We're all in need of a little bit of a good news story at the moment, certainly in these difficult times. And Lily O'Brien, a 10-year-old girl from Sligo, has received an unbelievable gift from none other than Ed Sheeran after writing a letter to the superstar back in May. To tell us about this incredible story is Lily's mum, Amanda, who joins us on the show. Amanda, you're very welcome to Lunchtime Live today.
Thank you.
Now, tell us what started this chain of events. Why did Lily write a letter to Ed Sheeran?
Lily has dyslexia and she finds writing particularly difficult. So after a discussion with her teacher, we decided we were going to try and teach her to type. So we were doing little bits on the laptop, and she heard when Ryan Tubridy got COVID, she said she wanted to type him a letter just to wish him well and send him a get well card. Mm-hmm. So she did. And we posted it off, and 2 or 3 days later, Ryan wrote back a little postcard thanking her for her letter and her get well. And she was just so excited. So she said, well, I'm going to write to more famous people, Mummy. So I said, great. So every morning we'd take out the laptop and she'd pick somebody that would inspire her or that she liked, and we'd write the letter and we'd post it off. So she had wrote to a few different people. Then one night we were watching a documentary on TV about Ed Sheeran, where he had visited Africa where the poor children were, and there was one little boy, he was only 10 as well, and in particular it focused in on that particular lad. And Lily just thought what Ed was doing for these were brilliant. So she said to me, Mommy, I'm going to write to him tomorrow. So I said, no problem, Lily. So the next day she takes out her laptop and she wrote to Ed. And I had said to her, but now we have no address. So Google and Alexa would be Lily's best friend. So right, off she goes.
Because he's not in the phone book, probably.
He's not in the phone book, and he wasn't in her address book or anything. But she came up with Ed Sheeran, and she said to me, but he sings the Galway Girl and no one else does, and he lives in London. So she decided we'd write Ed Sheeran, singer of the Galway Girl, London, on the envelope.
And leave the rest up to the post office.
And leave the rest was up to whoever else had to deal with it.
All right.
So we went up to the post office, and even the girl in the post office, we were laughing, saying, you know, this will be lucky if it leaves Sligo. So that was all right anyway. We posted the letter, and Lily had wrote several other letters then after that, and went back to school. And then last week I was tracked down by FedEx on Facebook saying that Ed had replied and that there was a parcel in Dublin for her, but he didn't have her address.
Wow! So he went to the trouble of getting the letter, obviously, which was a miracle in itself, and then you know, I'd argue he's possibly a little bit easier to find maybe than you. So he got that, and then he wanted to respond, but had no way of getting back in touch. So he called in. He called in FedEx.
He called in. He had sent it seemingly to FedEx, and he had on it Lily O'Brien, Riverstown, County Sligo.
Okay.
So the guy in FedEx said, right, I'm not sending this back. I have to try and find her. So he got in contact with a friend of his in Leitrim. And he says, I know you're not from Sligo, but you're closer to Sligo than me.
London.
Find this girl. So she says, grand. So she went up on her own Facebook page, but she got in contact with the local the Sligo champion and the Weekender too, putting out an SOS for Lily O'Brien in Riverstown. And that's how I was contacted then.
And what did you think when you heard FedEx had a parcel for Lily? What was the family reaction?
We were delighted. We couldn't believe that he had actually got the letter to start with, let alone respond. Mm-hmm. You know, so then she was expecting, like she says, it's probably a CD, Mammy, or it's a T-shirt, and she was just so excited. She just couldn't wait to get whatever his response was.
And what was it?
She just couldn't wait. A guitar.
Wow. One of his Ed Sheeran by Loden guitars. It's handmade guitars that he has especially made. Extraordinary. And does Lily play the guitar?
Lily had learned to play the guitar prior to lockdown, and then her guitar teacher had got a full-time job, but he had just given it up at the beginning of lockdown, so we couldn't get another teacher, but we have since sourced another teacher for her.
Look, and she's going to, is she afraid to play it? Is she going to keep it as a collector's item, or is she actually going to give it an old bash and stick it into the acoustic amp?
She'll give it a good bash.
Fantastic. Listen, isn't that amazing? A chain of events. I have to say, there's something all a bit Irish about that. That hop, skip and a jump, 6 degrees of separation to getting from Ed Sheeran, global superstar, down to Lily in the West. It's a fantastic story. And Amanda, thank you for telling us about it. I think it's just fabulous from Riverstown there.